If you're reading this, it means I've discovered the entrance to an ancient Roman city hidden deep underground. Its existence is long forgotten. Its existence is long forgotten, all knowledge of it lost, except in the Latin inscription here. It reads, "You who wish to enter the city, step forth and be judged. The virtuous shall be rewarded with eternal life in paradise. The wicked shall find themselves showered in gold, but in vain, for this shall be their final resting place." Could an underground city have remained a secret for all this time? Could people have survived down there, against the odds? It seems there's only one way to find out. If I'm not back in an hour, I'm somewhere on the other side. Consider this an invitation, or a warning. Al Worth. To whoever reads this, I'm sorry you had to find me like this. And worse, that you'll suffer the same fate I did. I've spent a lifetime in this place, going around and around in circles, searching for a way out. The inscription was right. There is no way back. In here, there are only two options: death, and that godforsaken doorway into the past. I made the mistake of stepping through it. I wanted to set things right, and I tried. I really tried. Whatever I did, it took me right back to the beginning. Don't make the same mistake. Better to end it all now, and find out what awaits you beyond that portal.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina? Yeah, you know, agricultural goddess of springtime? You're not from around here, are you? Oh, I see what you did there. Changing the subject like that. Nice try. But I'll ask again. Who are you, and what were you doing in the shrine? What? I'm speaking Latin. You are too, although your accent's a little strange. And you've just done it again. You're a sly one, aren't you? One more time. Who are you, and what were you doing in that shrine? Oh, is that right? Well, just make sure you don't get lost in any other sacred places you're not supposed to be. Can't have you disrespecting the gods by accident, can we now? But listen, most folks seem a bit confused when they get here, but you seem very lost, and in more ways than one. So let me make this nice and simple for you. Live by our law here, and we'll all get along just fine. Not laws, law. There's just one, the golden rule, and the punishment for breaking it's, well, it's kind of horrific. But our magistrate insists we take all newcomers to see him, so I guess I'll let him fill you in. So then, you coming? Look, you seem like you might need a little extra help, and I'd feel a lot more comfortable if I showed you the way. All right, friend, suit yourself. Just don't do anything too reckless till you've spoken with Magistrate Sentius in his villa down there. See you around.
Beautiful. Ah, you're here. I'm so glad you decided to visit. I'm Aurelia, and I hope I'm not being too forward, but the moment I laid eyes on you, I was intrigued. There's a light in your eyes I've never seen before, a certain learning and sophistication. Ugh, coming on a bit strong, don't you think? I take back what I said. Suddenly, I don't find you so intriguing anymore. Let's just forget that ever happened, so we can at least do business. So, what brings you to my tavern? Ugh, let it go. Nothing's going to happen between us. I just try not to think about it. Drink helps with that. As the saying goes, to drink is human, so we drink. Certainly, for 10 denarii. Whatever you like. You know, normally, I'd expect you to buy me a drink before asking if I want to get out of here. Straight to business, huh? I can work with that. As a matter of fact, I do know a way out. I'm happy to tell you all about it, but this is valuable information we're talking about, and I don't just give it out like some cheap oracle. So, how badly do you want it? Is it worth, say, 1,000 denarii to you? Well, I can't tell you too much, or you'd figure it out for yourself. But I promise you, you'll never have to spend another hour in this city ever again. Simple. It's a one-way trip, and I'm not ready to go just yet. I like my life here. One day, maybe, but not now. I think of it this way. I have something of value, and I'm willing to share it for a price. That's not unethical. That's just good business. Now, do you want it or not? If I took your money without giving you what I promised, I'd be breaking the golden rule, wouldn't I? And I have no interest in doing that. What's the matter? Can't afford it? Well, perhaps you could take out a loan. I understand Malleolus has lent money to others, on occasion. All right, see ya.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Out of my way!
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina? I don't think so. I've never seen you before in my life. Oh, Bacchus, how much did I drink last night? Sorry to have bothered you. Oh, and since you seem to be in a hurry, you should try out this device I made. Worked real hard on it. Just attach the pulley to the rope over the lake and hang on to the handles. If it works, it'll be faster than walking. And if it doesn't work, worst thing that can happen is you'll take a swim in the lake. I haven't quite summoned the courage to test it myself. But don't worry, it's completely safe. Probably. All right, see you around.
Hello? Hello? My name's Dooley. I live here now because I got in trouble and they said they had to lock me up. I don't know. I don't remember things so good. I think it's just because I was looking for treasure. Yes, but I wasn't. I was just looking. They said I did it more than once, but I can't remember things so good. Then they called me mean names. They called me a liar, Billy. Yes. They said I have to live here now, and gave me this letter. But what does it say? My treasure! My friend Hannibal used to look after me. He said he always would. But then, he died. It was very sad. He said if anything ever happened to him, I had to find something very precious hidden away. He gave me this key and made me promise to keep it safe until I found the treasure. But I couldn't find it. All I remember is he said something about the cisterns, but when I went up to the high one, they put me in here. Now nobody looks after me, except my friend Galerius and Ek, the priestess lady. She's a nice lady. Hannibal said I shouldn't give it to anyone I didn't trust. But maybe you could help me get out of here. Then I would trust you a lot. Galerius already tried that. He said the magistrate wouldn't listen, no matter what. What about the rules? I don't want everyone to get in trouble because I was bad. Like Galerius. He's nice. I like Galerius. He made me a doll and everything. If you help make him magistrate, he can get me out of here, and I can give you the key to my treasure. Hannibal said it was in the cisterns. I can't remember what it was, just that it was way up high and very precious. Bye-bye.
Help! You have to do something! A man arrived in the baths. A real nasty sort, with his face all covered up. And he's got a weapon. You have to do something, or he's going to break the golden rule. Thank you. He's still in there, somewhere. I have to hide. Find me in this empty shrine when it's over. Hear what? What? We don't have time for this. I have to go. Ugh. The shrine is collapsing!
Fabia, no! Oh God, she's dead! Did anyone see that? The whole shrine just collapsed on her! Oh, Fabia, why did you have to go in there? Poor sweet girl! I can't believe she is dead. Fabia, I mean. She walked into that empty shrine, and the next moment she is lying dead under a pile of rubble. The gods are cruel and unjust. She was like a daughter to me. I'm sorry, friend. It's not right for me to lay my burden upon you.
Stop right there. I'm looking for Tiberius Quinctius Crispus, otherwise known as Quinctius. Do you know where he is? I'm not sure I believe that, so allow me to explain something to you. I am here with orders from Emperor Nero himself to find and execute the cultist Quinctius for terrible crimes against the Empire. So, if you tell me the truth, I will allow you to live. But if you lie to me or otherwise obstruct the Emperor's business in any way, I will put this arrow through your chest. Is that understood? Thank you. Now tell me, who are you people, and what is this place? A small community. Ha! I was told Quinctius was a cultist, but I never thought he'd be foolish enough to lead me right to the heart of his mystery cult. Oh, don't play coy with me. I don't care if you're worshipping Bacchus, Magna Mater, or Christ. You lot are all the same to me. Always sneaking off to your secret sanctuaries, indoctrinating each other with your little mantras. The Emperor may have tolerated your activities up until now, but after what Quinctius did, those days are numbered. You say that, but if you're not a cult, then why go to such great lengths to keep this place a secret? So you admit you're not allowed to leave. Threatening me is not going to help you, but in any case, that sounds an awful lot like a cult to me. And I saw the inscription saying, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." I take it this is some kind of mantra you all believe? A distinction without a difference. You've clearly been indoctrinated into this nonsense. Now tell me, where did you lot get enough gold to make all these statues? You lot are practicing human sacrifice too. You people disgust me. Yes, because I'm the real villain here. It's all clear to me now. The secret sanctuary, the indoctrination, the mantra, the human sacrifice. You're cultists, there's no doubt in my mind. What baffles me is how a person can believe in something with such zeal. They just can't see what they've become. However, you still have a chance to redeem yourself by telling me where Quinctius is. Do not waste it. Very well, here's what I know. He's a 40 to 50-year-old man with distinctive eyes, one green and one blue. He's also known to have delusions of grandeur. The Emperor says he and his cult, your cult, are responsible for starting the fire which burnt half of Rome to the ground and killed thousands in the process. Who are you to challenge what the Emperor says? Were you there? Do you have spies and scouts all over Rome, like he does? No, you do not. This is your last chance. Are you going to tell me where he is or not? Then you're of no use to me. Do you have any last words? And there's a simple explanation for that. I lied. But if you want to know the truth before you die, here it is. Once I'm done with you and Quintius, I intend to kill every last one of you wretched degenerates. And I can think of nothing I'd enjoy more.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
No! What have you done, you fool?
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who... No idea what you're talking about. You know, not... That's all right, friend. We sort of lose track of the date down here, but it feels like the beginning of spring to me, so I'd say... early March? It's 817 AUC. Sorry, you look confused. 817 years since the founding of Rome. Which part of the... CE? No idea what you're talking about. But listen, most folks seem a bit confused when they get here, but you seem very lost, and in more ways than one. So let me make this nice and simple. Live by our... All right, friend. Suit yourself. Just don't do anything too reckless till you've spoken with Majesty.
Oh, you're here. I'm so glad you decided to visit. I'm Aurelia, and I hope I'm not being too forward, but there's a light in your eye. What was that? Some kind of joke? If it was, it wasn't... I take back what... Let's just forget that ever happened. All right, see you.
The 49 melodies fetch again with incessant labour the water they have lost. Cerberus lifts his triple head and lets out his threefold praying.
Livia, Would you stop muttering like Medea over a cauldron? You'll scare away my customers.
They follow their trades, imitating their previous lives, but they are ignorant.
This again. You're in a world of your own, aren't you?
Just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls. But it does not notice the crowds that come. The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives. They never do. The bloodless shadows. This is their punishment. Help me? You cannot help me. I have seen things. A pattern, a terrible pattern. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed. I'll say no more. There is only a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions. The newly arrived are ignorant of the road before them.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Salve, friend. Of course. I've bounced the idea around once or twice, mainly as a way of getting Dooley set free. God knows Sentius is never going to do it. But from what I hear, Malleolus has the election stitched up. Nobody's going to take him on and win. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. I mean, he talks a lot about freedom, so I'm hoping if he's elected, he'll release Dooley from his cell. That's good enough for me. Because Sentius put him there. Poor Dooley was just wandering around looking for some imaginary treasure. Now a magistrate accused him of being a thief. That's nonsense, of course. Dooley's the most harmless man you'll ever meet. But Sentius really has it in for him. Gladly. I've bounced the idea, but... I suppose you're right. All right.
Just as the ocean accepts, but it... The newly... Cerberus lifts his triple head. and lets out his threefold braying.
Livia, would you stop muttering like Medea over a cauldron? You'll scare away my customers.
They follow their trades, imitating their previous lives, but they are ignorant.
This again. You're in a world of your own, aren't you?
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Salve, friend. Mind telling me who you are and why you look like you've just taken on a gladiator? I bounced, but... glad. Well, it's a long one, and... I'm a farmer. Always have been. I grew up in a small village in Britannia, Camulodunum. One day, when I was about 20, my father and I were in the top paddock, loading our cart, when some Roman legionaries came along. My father told me to run into the house for his axe, and so I did. Sprinted so, but by the time I got back, he was bleeding out on the ground. My mother died of a broken heart soon after, and things went downhill from there. I took over the farmstead. More raiding started before too long. We'd come outside in the morning to find animals missing, our stores pillaged. These Legion thugs just took whatever they want. One night, when my sisters and I had nothing left to steal, there was a knock at the door. I got my father's old axe, pulled the door open real quick, and before that soldier knew it, split his... But there were more of them. I never saw how many, because the next thing I knew, I was waking up with a mouth full of dirt and lungs full of smoke. My home was reduced to ash. My sisters, dead. And... yeah, well, I wasn't the only one this happened to. It wasn't long before Boudica led thousands of Britons in a rebellion against the... Unfortunately, there were just too many of them. And those of us who survived, they enslaved. So, then I found myself being transported all the way. I spent a few years working for my new master, learning the Romans' ways, Romanized my name and everything. Tried to escape a couple of times, but they always found me, and I'd just end up... I'd probably still be there too, if it wasn't for the stampedes breaking out. You see, about 7 months ago, an enormous fire. Everybody was running down toward the river, screaming and shouting. I got swept up with them somehow, and the rest... The next thing I knew, some stranger was dragging me out of a river. Stumbled across this place, and... That's what I thought too, for a while. But it seems the gods are... See, I finally had my own farm again, safe from the grasping hands of the Romans. Or... until Sentius the Decurion demanded I hand over all my produce. It's for the good of us all, he says. Only he takes the best bits for himself. He even told me if I refuse his demands, I'll break the golden rule. I'm not sure I believe him, but then, what if he... So, it turns out our dear old magistrate is no better than the Legion thugs who took everything from me. I'm right. But don't you worry. Nemesis is waiting. And he'll get his. One day. He'll get his. Forget I said that last part, will you? Thanks, friend. I knew I'd like... Anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Well, as much as I'd love to get out of here, the harvest's always more fruitful in another man's field, isn't it? But Scintilla, Sentius's daughter, went missing a few weeks back. Could be she found a way out. If anyone knows for sure, it'll be her sister, Sentia. But she'd never tell the likes of me. Oh, I don't give it much thought these days. I mean, everybody here's got their own view about what we need to do to... But I say, let's spend less time arguing about what it... All right.
Cerberus lifts his triple head and lets out his threefold braying.
Livia, would you stop muttering like Medea over a cauldron? You'll scare away my customers.
They follow their trades, imitating their previous lives, but they are ignorant.
This again. You're in a world of your own, aren't you?
You, Sisyphus, attack or pursue the stone that always returns.
I love your clothes. Oh, you're here. I'm so... And, there's a... How dare you? Get away from me, you pig. Oh, do us all a favour and drink hemlock, Captain.
You, Sisyphus, just as the ocean accept, but it... The new...
Greetings and salutations. Greetings, I'm Georgius. It gladdens me to see another foreigner in our midst. We must stick together, you and I. And I must say, my sartorial friend, your clothing is most extraordinary. Leather boots in place of sandals, trousers with precise stitching, and such a curious design. I have traveled distant trade routes from the markets of Damascus to the farms of India, and never have I seen anyone dressed quite like you. Tell me, I must know, from which exotic part of the world do you hail? And now you have me more intrigued than before. But since it appears you do not wish to share, I will wait until we are better friends. We will have much time here to get to know one another. But for now, do you require assistance? I know you do not require clothing, so information perhaps? My story? How kind of you to ask. I am a tailor and I run the humble shop in the forum. You mean to say, with all the turmoil and terror of the Golden Rule and so few customers, why bother setting shop at all? I'll tell you, it is precisely because of the Golden Rule that I wish to remind my friends of the importance of looking one's best. I say, the more of our customs we preserve down here, the more we can preserve a semblance of normality, the better our chances of keeping our heads. Don't you agree? Oh, and there is another reason too. If we all end up as golden statues for future generations to marvel at, I don't know about you, but I would like to look my best. A good question. A very good question indeed. And I would be happy to tell you if only I could remember it clearly myself. I remember I had just been to Rome to sell an extraordinary selection of wares, and drowning in coin, I decided to celebrate my success. I rented a prestigious villa by the Tiber, invited over a few select friends, and we began making our way through some of the most exquisite wine money could buy. Quite a lot of it, in fact. Now, I have had visions and awoken in strange places before. I have even found myself naked in the desert sands more than once, but none of that compares to this. This time, I remember people screaming, then falling into a void as empty as time before creation, gasping for air, and then nothing. When I regained my faculties, I was lying naked by the banks of the Tiber, gods know how many miles from my villa. Indeed. I'm lucky I was carrying a little extra weight. I believe it kept me afloat. In any case, it seems I'd been rescued and resuscitated by a benevolent stranger. I went to find firewood for his campfire, stumbled across a cave, and discovered that trapdoor temple. And here I am. Anything you like. Shh! Not so loud! What are you playing at? Have you not been told about the last attempt? Oh, then I suppose this duty falls to me. It is a long story. Of course, the first question any of us asks when we first arrive is, how do I escape? It is only natural after all. And scaling the chasm wall is out of the question, for it is simply too steep and too far. But as they say, if the wind fails, use the oars. And here the second option is to leave the way we came in, through the shaft above the bathhouse. See, the shaft is quite high, but if one gathered up enough wood, one could make a series of ladders and climb one's way out. I admire your enthusiasm, my friend, but please allow me to explain why this is inadvisable. There was an attempt, made by resourceful fellows who lived here some years ago. They even decided to keep records of their escape attempt for posterity. Unfortunately, as soon as they began to carry the first ladder down the hallway, they heard a godlike voice shake the entire city, and that, tragically, is where their tale ends. So it seems that to merely attempt escape is to invite the wrath of whichever god oversees this place, and so I say it is best to not even discuss it aloud. Yes. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. As a Greek, this is nothing new to me. It is how our gods operate. Have you not heard the tale of the god Hades? He was the first to learn this dreadful lesson when he abducted Persephone and imprisoned her in the underworld. When Demeter, the mother of Persephone, learned of this, she did not punish Hades, the guilty one. Instead, she changed the climate of Earth so that it became hot and dry. Nothing grew. The grain turned to empty husks and the rivers dried up. Innocent people died by the tens of thousands until at last the other gods were forced to act, lest they have no worshippers left. So yes, we know this rule. This has always been the case. The Golden Rule has merely brought it into focus. If we are to survive, I say we must each heed the simple wisdom of Thales of Miletus, first of the 7 sages of Greece, who said, "Avoid doing what you would blame others for doing." Regrettably, I think you are correct, my friend. For even if 99% of us adopt this principle, that will never be enough. Sadly, no matter how well we protect ourselves, the life's work of many good people can be undone in the blink of an eye by a single selfish act. Ah, the voice of experience. I am sorry for your loss, my friend. But on a lighter note, I will say one thing for the Golden Rule. For all their grim and haunting poses, these golden statues do make magnificent models for my clothing, do they not? I hope that our paths cross again soon, my friend. Greetings and salutations.
Hey, Virgil, how much would you want to make me a bow?
For the last time, Dacis, I'm not making you a bow.
But why?
You know why.
But how am I going to defend myself against someone else with a weapon?
There are no other weapons in the city. We all went along with the magistrate's weapons ban, so it wouldn't be an issue.
That's why I've got to get in first before someone else beats me to it.
Ah, a new face. Salve, and welcome to a little community. My name's impossible to pronounce for most people, so you can just call me Virgil. Well, I'm an architect. Or at least I was back in Rome. That's probably too grandiose. Help out with repairs and try to stop old buildings from collapsing on people. But you probably don't want to hear about the ingenious architecture or... Oh, I'm glad you asked. Some of these shrines were constructed hundreds of years ago, which means... But there's one thing that puzzles me. The oldest shrine in this avenue isn't Roman at all. Well, yes, that or it could mean that there were Greeks living and worshipping here before the Romans arrived. Which begs the interesting question, who really built this place? And could it be far? If only there was a way we could talk to the people who came here before us. Gladly. Personally, my favorite thing about this place is the aqueducts. Those series of adjoining arches. They're an ingenious feat of Roman engineering with a very practical purpose. They take fresh water coming from outside. It's funneled below the palace and into a cistern, and the rest is funneled to the shrine of Proserpina. Hey, not so loud. Just talking about that could anger the gods for all we know. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you'd have to find a way inside somehow. Just, please, tried to be... You mean the Great Temple? This one's a bit of given the way it's positioned so prominently, looking down on us. It's clear that whoever built it felt it was the most important temple in the city. Unfortunately, someone else went out of their way to keep its purpose. You see, usually a temple is dedicated to a particular god, like Proserpina or Diana or Apollo. Usually, that god is obvious. But in this case, there's an obelisk out the front, which probably used to bear the name of this unknown god. But it appears some barbarian defaced it. And of course we can't get inside because it's locked up tighter than the Temple of Saturn in Rome. And that contains the treasury. So we're all left wondering, which god is that temple dedicated to? And unless somebody figures out a way inside... Of course. Some people say it's divine, the work of a god, but I'm not so sure. It just seems so flawed to me. I mean, once you've been here long enough, you'll notice people doing things that just seem so wrong to you. But this so-called god doesn't seem to care, which means one of two things. Either you don't know the difference between right and wrong, or this unknown god doesn't. And I'm pretty sure I know the difference. Good. Then I hope you'll agree that there are only two ways. The first is to leave. The second is to remove the ruler from power. And it seems... Good question. Oh, it means someone thinks I'm a sinner. And that I... Look, I haven't done anything wrong, if that's what you're thinking. Somebody just has a problem with my preference for... Hey, nothing gets by you, huh? And when you grow up in the north, as I did, in the city of Noviomagus, you expect a bit of hostility. The Batavi are not known for their tolerance. I saw enough friends killed or driven away to know the cost of not keeping your personal affairs to yourself. So I hid who I was for... What was it? Nearly 10 years? But that kind of fear eats away at you slowly, until living isn't, needless to say, since I'm now living underground, halfway across the known world, with an assumed name. My openness didn't go down well among the enlightened folk of... In any case, the Romans are far more accepting, and among them, I get to be who I am. Or at least, I thought that was the case. It's not just graffiti. I have quite a collection of... The strange thing is, I keep my personal affairs. I've never... Not my type. So I'm not sure what I could have done to upset this If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably one of those... Strange bunch. They insist there's only one god, and that he considers my nature a sin. If there are any of them here, they won't admit it. Not since they supposedly burnt down half of Rome. All I know is, if these threats keep escalating, eventually my secret admirer is... What? Really? I didn't expect... I'm glad you arrived when you... Someone who lives or works in the forum must have seen something. But if you find them, please don't hurt or humiliate them. I suspect they're just confused. Nice to talk to you.
Salve. Salve, stranger, and welcome to our idyllic little slice of the Empire. I'm Dacius,